Hello, everyone. You are listening to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. I'm the Mallory and Friends, and I want to welcome you. Welcome to this amazing show. We talk a lot about femininity and faith, and this is your new favorite podcast. So go ahead and give us the 5 stars wherever you're listening, the review. Go ahead and rate us. Just go ahead and do it because you're going to love it. Here, we talk about things from life, relationship, career, pop culture, all of that stuff from the Christian and conservative perspective. Don't change, keep listening. You might think our opinions might shock you on some things that you're thinking of that conservatives might believe. Not only that, we're always telling the truth, but we do it a little differently than some of the mainstreams. We talk about truth and grace and in love because we're Christians before we're conservative. Let me tell you that now. So, you're going to love the podcast. This is an episode for the girlies. Talking a lot of girly podcasts. Well, a lot of girly podcast stuff, but a lot of girly pop culture things today, as well as just girliness. So if you're a guy listening, this is an important episode. You might want to take notes to know what the Christian and conservative girlies are thinking about what's going on currently in pop culture. But there's also like a more of a human rights wink wink that should tell you kind of what the topic is. Story for later. I'm super excited to have you here. I give a lot of unsolicited opinions about different topics. Let me know what you guys think if you like these solo episodes. If you're like, Mal, I really think you do better with a co-host, that's fine too. We're going to keep doing more. But if you're like, you know what, I kind of want your solicited opinion on something, never fret. Email Dear Other Girl with your questions. dearothergirl@gmail.com with your solicited advice questions. So if you need advice on relationship, career, pop culture, any of that stuff, let me know. I would love to give you my solicited advice to help you. I think I give great friendship advice. Just a side note, I am working on being a better friend, and because I'm working on being a better friend, I'm like learning and like reading more about it. So like that's kind of like a top of mind topic. So I think I am good at that. I'm good at giving advice on that regard. I also just have a lot of opinions on things. So if you ever want them, go ahead and email me. dearothergirl@gmail.com. If you think that we should have, I'm saying we because I normally have a co-host. If you're doing this and you think that I should have another co-host, let me know. If you're like, you know what, Mal, like you are funny, you are cool, I enjoy listening to you, but you do better with a co-host, that's fine. Just be honest with me and let me know. But if you're like, no, I don't mind a couple here and there solos, let me know that as well. I have a lot of really cool things in the works for the coming year. Speaking of which, for those that do not know, the March for Life is going to be January 19th. It is in Washington, D.C. And if you are new to the pro-life movement, if you've never been to the March for Life, if you're thinking about going, but you're going by yourself, if you're nervous, if you just want a group of women to walk with, please join us. Join me. You are welcome. Come walk with us. And we're going to be doing a tea party. So if you're new to listening to the podcast, what I have kind of cultivated and I want to do multiple times a year, so working on logistics, are, you can say, like pro-life tea parties. Essentially, these are tea parties where we gather, we dress cute. You can't really see, but I'm wearing a dress. I love dresses. I love dressing up. You don't have to be that type of person to enjoy the tea party, but that's just like my vibe, just so you know. So we have tea parties, and the idea is just kind of to do a meetup, to meet people who are like-minded, similar-minded as us, as well as, you know, learn something. Like I want you to enjoy yourself. I want you to socialize. I want you to dress in your femininity, like embrace that. There's times where sometimes we feel as if we don't really want to embrace our femininity because of X, Y, and Z. Like this is a time to do, or you feel like you can't. There's some people who feel like they can't embrace their femininity. If you're doing a more of a masculine job, or if you just like have more of a masculine career, I'm thinking something like construction. I don't know. If it's something along those lines, you feel like you don't really get a chance to dress up, this is the time to dress up. Like, I want you to put on your best dress, and we're going to have tea, we're going to chat, but I want us to also learn. So I'm going to have a speaker or two to come and kind of talk about the pro-life movement. This one is going to be very focused on like how to get involved, when you go to the March for Life, it is so fun. You feel so invigorated. You see so many people. You hear so many amazing stories. It's such I love that it happens once a year, or it happens every year, because it's such like a invigorating time. Like, you just feel so empowered. I guess that's the right word. You feel very empowered when you go. And some people are in towns or in clubs and things like that where you feel like you're the only person you know that's pro-life, and you kind of feel alone. But the March for Life is when you realize you're not alone. You're not by yourself. And what I would love to do, would be so great if people who end up coming from the same town that don't even know they live in the same town, you guys can connect. But if not, my goal is for us to have an even more intimate time. Because there's going to be there's hundreds of thousands of people who come every year. Hundreds of thousands is what I said, everyone. Hundreds of thousands who come every year. But I'm my prayer, my hope, my goal is for us to have a more intimate time. We're not going to have hundreds of thousands at the tea party. We're going to have a more intimate, smaller number, so you guys can kind of get to know each other, but we can even brainstorm some more ideas. So you take that momentum, that excitement, and bring it back to your town, and you can actually make a difference. Because that's one thing, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later on in the episode. But that's just one thing that I want it to be a productive thing, not just like having fun, which is fine and great. And we absolutely are going to have fun. We're going to look really cute. We're going to take pictures, of course. We're going to drink tea, eat fun, pretty, like, pastry things. It's going to be a blast. But I do want us to be productive in it. Okay. I guess that's it. I'm trying to think of anything exciting going on in my life right now to share. I mentioned I was at the conference last week. Not really. Well, no, by then I hope I was going to say, like, can someone give me a suggestion for Oops Spoilers? Oops Spoilers is another podcast that I have where I just ramble about a show or a movie I watched, and give my opinion on it. I'm going to I want to make it like a little bit A1, to almost be like, oh, I haven't seen X, Y, and Z. Let me see what they say on Oops Spoilers. Right now, it's just me kind of doing this, but a lot less organized. I do a lot of, and then this happened, and then that, can you believe that happened? And it's kind of just me, like, talking about the movie to a friend, and I'm pretty sure only one of my friends, like, I'm pretty sure it's like one view each video, but I enjoy doing it. And the one view was like my friend who I would talk to the movie about, which is so funny to me. I was going to ask for a suggestion for a movie because I've been looking. I mean, that's another thing too. It's just a side note. I've been looking for like a new movie to watch. Nothing's really interesting me right now. I'm rewatching Community. If you know anything about me in real life, I am a Community fiend. Love the show. 10 out of 10. I'm always going to recommend it. I'm going to always suggest it. I'm going to say something a little crazy. Community is better than The Office. I know. You're probably screaming at your phone or device. I think my statistics say 95% of you use your phone. I know you're screaming at your device, and I'm sorry. Community is funnier. The characters are better, and it's just an all-around better show. We're getting a movie, 6 seasons in a movie. If you know, you know. We're getting a movie soon, and it's just such a great movie. So I'm rewatching that. It's such a great show. I'm rewatching that, and it's so good. And each time I rewatch, which is way too much, I just get like little nuggets. I don't know if I mentioned this, I did finish my like way too many rewatch of BoJack Horseman, which I would not necessarily recommend. Well, I mean, I guess I would not recommend it. I do think it's for mature audiences, and there is a terrible episode about abortion that I skip every time. I don't want to support that episode. But aside from that, there's a lot of really good nuggets in there. Oh, you know, I think I've mentioned it because I think I've talked about how, like, sometimes I'll say quotes from it, and people are like, ooh, that's a good quote. And, like, depending on who it is, I might say, oh, thank you. Or I might be like, oh, it's BoJack Horseman, not me. I actually had to use a quote. One of my friends, he is restarting sobriety, which is great. Honestly, keep going. If you fall off the wagon, get back up. If sobriety, when it comes to alcohol, nicotine, food is an addiction, sugar, anything like that, You make the mistake, you get back up. No shame in starting over. Absolutely none. You just do it again. And there's a line toward the end of actually in the last episode, where one of the characters talks about the hokey pokey, and he explains that the hokey pokey, everybody talks about you put your right foot in, you put your right foot out, right foot in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. And everybody's talking about the right foot in, hokey pokey, but no one's talking about you turn yourself around. And he was saying that, like, the turn yourself around, like, that's the really important part. That's what it's all about. You make a mistake, you just turn yourself right back around. And yeah, it's a deep show. Anyway, my friend announced that, and I just posted, well, fabulous, keep going. And then there's another, and in that same scene, he also, Bojack, spoiler, he says something like, well, what happens if I lose my sobriety? And then the same character, Todd, is like, well, then you just start over, and then you beat that record, and then you beat the next record, and every day you're beating your record. And I posted that for my friend, who I'm very proud of. And if you're listening, I'm very proud of you. Keep going. So yeah, so that's a good show as well. I think it's a good show. It gets really, really deep. And I mean, it's moments like that, like if you are going through, alcohol, nicotine, sugar, any of those type of addictions that are kind of like all consuming, if you are going through that, I think the show kind of depicts it fairly well, of people who are kind of and I actually I have a friend similar to this who we go through seasons where we're super close, and when we're not super close. Like, I met him in college, and this friend, or around college time, and this friend is one of those people who just keeps trying and trying, and sometimes people don't know how destructive they are and how much they're hurting people. And you can't keep saying you're sorry. If you're hurting people, you just can't keep saying, I'm sorry. At some point, you have to take control. And that's essentially what the show is about. Like, the overall message of BoJack Horseman is like, you can't keep saying, making all these mistakes, hurting people, whether it's intentional or not intentional, and then saying, I'm sorry. No, at some point you have to actually, like, make plans to actually change and to continue to try to change. You keep trying to change. You make the mistake again, oops, sorry, you keep trying again. Another thing, wow, I'm talking about this way too long. Last thing I'm gonna say about this. Another thing that I kind of sort of been thinking about from them is a character calls or asks another character, do you think I'm a good person? And she goes, I don't think anyone's good or bad. I think that your decision is what you are. So, like, if you aren't a good or bad person, you make good or bad decisions. Essentially, I didn't say it right, but, like, that's what it is. You're not a good or bad person. You make good or bad decisions. And I think about that, and I'm like, I think I agree with that. I don't know. Biblically, you guys tell me, what do you think? Does that align with the word of God? Like, well, technically we're all depraved, so we're all bad people. But just the idea that, like, there's no good person. And that's kind of how I feel about when it comes to, like, when people go, well, do you think you deserve? Like, none of us deserve anything, really. I kind of hate when people, do you think you deserve X, Y, and Z? Well, I mean, we don't deserve anything unless you've, like, worked for it. But anyway, that's beside the point. These are things that you think about, and you have these long conversations with your friends when you're in college and you watch the show, and no one in your friend group's a Christian, and they're all going through an existential crisis, and then all of a sudden you kind of are too, but you're a Christian. So that hole that he talks about in another episode that you try to fill with love and alcohol and things, for them stays empty. For you, thank God you have Jesus. These are things that you think about. All right, let's get ready for the show. We have a merch store. This is the logo. This will always be the logo. I'm pretty sure. I love this logo. Victoria made this. Super cute. I absolutely have to have water. I'm going to be doing a lot of talking. So without further ado, what we do right before we do the show is we do a clink. So without further ado, we clink. Ready for some tea? Okay, here we go. This story is brought to you by Christian Post. I posted about this on the Those Are the Girls Instagram. You should, if you're not already, follow Those Are the Girls podcast on Instagram. Because we talked about it, and there's a really good, in my opinion, there is a really good discussion happening in the comments about this. And to be honest, we all kind of agree. But I want to expand on my thoughts on this. Okay. Bishop performs mass of reparation on church following lewd Sabrina Carpenter video and demotes the priest. The Roman Catholic bishop of the Diocese of Brooklyn performed a mass of reparation on Saturday to cleanse a historic church in Williamsburg. That the setting was of a lewd, violent music video of pop star Sabrina Carpenter. Okay, for context, Sabrina Carpenter is the girl much beautifuler than me, blonde hair girl that Olivia Rodrigo talks about in the Sour album. That's Sabrina Carpenter. She also is the girl that does a song that's like na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. And she'll interchange it with a new city, I'm happy to be here and blah 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 blah. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's Sabrina Carpenter. Oh, she also played on Girl Meets World, one of Disney Channel's worst shows. That's her. Cutie patootie. Long blonde hair, cute little body. Love her voice. Love her music. You know what? I put her up there. So obviously, sorry, going on a quick tangent. So obviously, Demi, Selena, and Miley are the queens of Disney Channel. They hold the title. Amazing singers, great actresses, some more than others. They're mother, as the Gen Z say. Those are mother. I would say there's two who are in the I guess three who are kind of like that for Gen Z, because I think Demi, Selena, and Miley were kind of for millennial, and that's what I am, in case you couldn't tell. It might be hard to tell because I'm so hip. But and those three would be, I'll say in order of popularity, Olivia Rodrigo for sure, Sabrina Carpenter, the girl we're talking about, and Dove Cameron. I don't know if many of you know Dove Cameron, and I didn't know about her till earlier this year. Obsessed. Love her, 10 out of 10. She can sing. She doesn't just sing, she sings. Love her. Boyfriend and Breakfast, two of my favorite songs. Definitely going to be in my top 5 on Spotify. Dove Cameron can sing. Olivia Rodrigo, we already know. Amazing singer. Trying to get tickets to her show. It's actually my brother's birthday. And I teased him. I was like, how would you feel if we got Olivia Rodrigo tickets for your birthday? And he said he wouldn't go. So that's lame. And then Sabrina Carpenter, I like her. I just know the Nonsense song. And then this song, Feathers, which was filmed in the church, which is what we're talking about. Now back to this. Bishop Robert Brennan also removed Monsignor Jamie Ginatello from his position of administrator oversight over Our Lady of Mount Carmel Annunciation Parish, the diocese said in a statement obtained by the Christian Post. Through the offering of this mass, Bishop Brennan has restored the sanctity of this church and repaired the harm. The diocese said the video Feather, which as of Monday has amassed more than 4.5 million views since being uploaded on Halloween, depicts a scantily clad Carpenter surrounded by coffins and dancing in the front of the altar, which was adorned by a bottle of liquid marked RIP, a doll that says "Good girls go to heaven," and a book titled "Tampons Should Be Free." One of the coffins is emblazoned with RIPB beneath the cross. Carpenter also prances provocatively through the nave in between the pews during the video, which features several men dying gory deaths in a manner reminiscent of a slasher horror films. Carpenter video stoked outrage on social media, with some taking her tack to a video they deemed disrespectful and offensive. And Brennan said last week he was appalled that such content was permitted to be filmed in the sanctuary of the 19th century church. So this church has been around since the 19th century. I think that's just something to think about. So a couple things. He said, outrage. I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of only been religious people who are outraged. And that's fine. It's something that religious people, if you are religious, no matter your religion, typically you do understand and respect other people's religions, religious buildings, their things like that. I'll just say that. You typically respect that if you're religious. So that's one thing. There wasn't as much outrage, in my opinion, as there would have been if it was a mosque or a temple. I do think people would care more about that, which kind of reminds me of, and I hate to keep bringing this up. I'm going to stop bringing it up, but I was like slaughtered for saying that when I see people wearing crosses, I don't automatically think Christian. People are like, no, wearing a cross means that you're a Christian. People wear crosses because they're a Christian. So, let me tell you guys about something. The Whatever podcast, which we've talked about, I did an episode with Savannah where we kind of discussed the pros and the cons of the show. There was an episode, and a girl was wearing a cross necklace, and she was saying how she wasn't a Christian. So, like, why are you wearing a cross necklace if you're not a Christian? And she said, oh, because it's cute. And then someone was like, well, would you wear a Jewish star? She said, no. Okay, I think that is the sentiment of people who do not take Christianity seriously. So, should we be completely surprised that she wanted to use Catholic imagery, crosses, and the actual Catholic Church? No, I don't think we should be. I would not be surprised if she considers herself Catholic. It wouldn't, if, later we find out she was even baptized. It would not surprise me 1 second. I think it shouldn't be surprising. I think it's distasteful and disrespectful, though. I think that because we become so, as a society, culture has become so lackadaisical about things like this that are a big deal, like respecting the church. And, I'm going to say something a little crazy, and I know a lot of you are not going to agree with me. I do think there is something to say about dressing up to church. You don't have to, wear long ball gowns and veil. I know a lot of people are really into veiling right now. You don't have to do all that stuff. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying, though, is I do think that you should try to present your best foot forward. Now, are there going to be times where you're in a hurry, but you really need to get to church? So you might slide on some pants. Well, see, to me, like, if I'm going to slide on something, it's going to be a dress. But I recognize that's not everybody. My point is, though, like, obviously I think there's room. Not everybody's going to dress to the nines to go to church. But I do think that dressing up to go to church does kind of show a type of reverence. Personally, I always wear dresses to church. I think I've worn the only time I've ever worn non-dresses to church is when, like, if it's like a Sunday night service or a Wednesday night service. And I will say, though, like, churches I've gone to, there's people wearing leggings, like, people don't care. I mean, there's people who come in, like, really short skirts, and I don't necessarily think you should, obviously we're not going to, like, turn them away or anything like that, but I do think that if we so that could be, like, a new person who's never been to the church before. If we as a body, those of us who are members of that church, set the tone of, hey, we're going to church, we want to be reverent, we want to bring our best, present our best as we go about this. If we have that type of attitude, someone that goes into the church, and they will see, like, hey, you know what, maybe I should dress a little bit more appropriately, because they're going to see, like, that's how everyone else, this is the standard we have for our church. I'm very much pro that. I'm sure people are going to, like, say, no, I don't think you should, but I do. If you disagree, if you think you should be able to wear whatever, however, whenever you want to the church, let me know. Comment below. Let me know your thoughts. But I do think you should try your best, because I do think when you don't, this is kind of what you breed. I'm not saying that this is the church's fault. I'm not saying that this is any particular church's fault. I'm just saying that, like, I think when you don't show reverence to the church, when you stop kind of I guess reverence is the right word, when you stop trying to put your best foot forward and just respect the time of fellowship with your fellow Christians, I think this is kind of what it breeds. So that's one thing. Like I said, people would be outraged if it was a mosque or Jewish star. My next question is, part of it is Christianity is not the we don't have like a recognized religion as a country, but it is essentially what we were founded on. It is the majority of the people in our country. When people are thinking of America, they do think of Christians. I wonder, let me know if you live in another country and you can tell me this. I wonder, because, I mean, people, Christianity, I don't want to be one of those people. Christianity is under attack. Because, like, it is, but we also aren't, I mean, we're not being slaughtered. There's people in other countries that are being, right now, that are being murdered because they believe that Jesus is the Son of God. So, we're not that type of under attack. But I wonder if in countries where another religion is the majority, if there are people who are doing these type of things, culturally attacking, I'll say that are culturally attacking the religion. I wonder if some of it has to do, I do think it's, obviously I'm a Christian, so I do think this is the correct belief. I do think that has a little bit to do with it, but I wonder if it also has something to do with the fact that it is the main religion. So everybody pretty much growing up was Christian. Obviously there's other religions in the country, but you guys know what I mean. Like, a lot of the country is Christian. So statistically, people in Hollywood grew up Christian. So maybe they're rebelling against their religion. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking it could be. Have something to do with it. I think that, like, just openly rejecting Christ is kind of like a new thing. And let's be honest, you guys. Part of it is because she wanted me to do this. And you know what? You got it. You won in that regard. I am talking about it. You're talking about it. It's been talked about all week on Twitter. I mean, the diocese had to put the things in their in the, I was gonna say temple, in the, oh my goodness, what is it called? Had to bless the church and everything, like, so this is partially what she wanted. And to be, well, no, I was gonna watch the video anyway because I love her voice and I want to be more into, well, the time I wanted to be really more into her. And the concept that was first shown was just like her, getting back at the men who were like inappropriate with her, which I'm like, ooh, I love a story like that. Get them. So I was gonna watch it anyway, but like the majority of people I think watch it just to see. I know someone on Twitter that I follow said that she watched it numerous times to see if like all of the Christian imagery in there, which gives it the views, which is what she wanted, which, so it is what it is on that. So yeah, you guys just let me know. Those are my thoughts on it. This was definitely an episode. This was definitely a story for the pop culture girlies. Do you guys remember her from Girl Meets World? That show was awful. Like, which is crazy because Boy Meets World is iconic. It was so good. A lot of good life lessons. It was actually revolutionary too. Like, Angela and Sean were one of the first interracial couples on television. Like, it was a big deal. Great show. And Girl Meets World, they fumbled that back. Every time I see clips of it, it's like, woof. All right. Next story. We've kind of talked about this ad nauseum, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more because this is a new trend. I couldn't, anyway, let me just read this. It's trending now. Like, this is something multiple people have done. Okay, so this is a story from USA Today. Former Missouri teacher who created OnlyFans account says she has made nearly $1 million. A Missouri teacher who resigned from high school teaching job after being outed as a performer on OnlyFans says she has made close to $1 million from the platform. 28-year-old Brianna Kopage told Fox News she had made close to $1 million selling adult content on OnlyFans, and in October she resigned from her job teaching at St. Clair High School in Franklin County, about 55 miles southwest of St. Louis. Copenhagen told Fox News since she started the account over the summer, she's now one of the top creators on OnlyFans and has made nearly 1 million on the platform. I will say that I have tens of thousands of fans now, and I have, far exceeded my teacher salary for the year. Okay? Now, I saw this kind of as a headline, like, this is kind of a trend. She is not the first and certainly won't be the last teacher, unfortunately, that has quit their teaching job to do OnlyFans. Let me read something else. She's 28 years old. She made 42 working as a teacher, and she only did it to have extra money that will help pay off her student loans from an advanced degrees. It started off with just one to supplement my income and kind of see what happens and possibly make extra money. Like, I have student loans. I was working on my third degree, so I have a master's degree in education, and then I was working on a specialist degree. And then it was specifically reported. The superintendent said that they were notified and it was inappropriate. Let me just see. Sorry, you guys. Okay, this isn't what I was saying here. So I saw a headline and I couldn't find the story, but I looked everywhere. I thought maybe I found it. I saw a headline that said, like, it's a growing trend, and it is. I mean, this isn't the first teacher we heard of that quit their job to join OnlyFans, and then now they're making all this money on OnlyFans. Just a reminder, though, like, this is still, it feels like it's a lot, but it really isn't. Like, I believe the average, let me look it up because I want to tell you guys the truth. The average person on OnlyFans does not make $1 million. And pay for OnlyFans. Let's see here. Listen to this. You guys are going to, like, scream because we only hear about the outlandish ones because the fact of the matter is it's outlandish. We only hear about these teachers who are joining. And to be honest, the other teachers I heard, I don't think I heard them making $1 million. I think I heard that they had just joined and they were fired. I think she's the first person who is making $1 million. But we hear about them because it's a crazy, wild story. But listen to this. The average earnings from OnlyFans is $150 to $180 a month. A month. Let that sit in. Sink in. Let it sit in too. Sit on your chest. Let that sit on your chest. $150 to $180 a month. They're selling this thing to make it seem like, oh, you're going to make $1 million a month. Which, whatever. Some people do. We see clearly. Homegirl did. I'm sorry. $1 million in a year. Okay, cool. Homegirl did. You probably aren't. It's like oh my gosh. Guys, it's a pyramid scheme. How are we falling for this again as women? This is nothing but it works. I think I triggered some of you. If you know, you know. Mary Kay. Lala Rowe. Y'all know the leggings. That's all. That's all OnlyFans is. We've got to be better. I think that it says a lot that she is making more because, once again, just a reminder, like, she wouldn't be making any money if men weren't signing up. People weren't signing up. She wouldn't be making the money. A. B. Let's see here. I also think that it speaks volumes that she's making more than she is as a teacher. Where is the money going? I mean, education, I'm not anti-public school necessarily. I think that you have to do what's best for your own children. I am not a parent, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you need to do. That's just me. Do whatever is best for your children. At the end of the day, there's always going to be kids in public school, and I think that kids in public school deserve a good education, just like kids not in public school. So where is the money going for teachers? You know, you hear stories also of teachers having to buy supplies for the kids. That's crazy. So then when I was doing the research, I told you guys I was looking to find that specific article that was saying it was a trend. So I was curious to learn more about the trend. Hopefully, maybe I'll find it next week and we can talk about it. Because of that, I looked it up. One of the things that came up was Reddit. And you guys know I'm a Reddit fiend. And let me read to you some of like what people are saying on Reddit. So the question is, what are your thoughts about teachers who have OnlyFans accounts? This person said, I think until schools and districts start paying every teacher or paraprofessional a living wage, no teacher should be judged for how they subsidize their income. Okay. This person goes, I don't have a problem with one major caveat. Anything any teacher puts on the internet will be found by students. If you have an OnlyFans account and put some shady videos or pictures, or even bikini pictures of your vacation to Hawaii on Facebook, the students will see them within hours and pass those around school. It's only a matter of time. For reference, the person teaches elementary school and doesn't believe their students will ever see. The teacher is painfully naive. Kids can find anything online. We used to get long presentations during PD, I don't know what that is, and orientation every year about what we could and couldn't do. Things that would get us fired. OnlyFans accounts are now listed. You do not have a personal life outside of the school because you represent the district. In my brain, I know a teacher is an adult who should be able to do as they please and make little extra money on the side. I'm also someone who believes sex workers should be treated with respect. However, if I were in their shoes, I'd be terrified that students and parents would find my account and the fallout would be awful. Even if they're elementary students now, they won't be forever. It's something that would blow up a school class environment. Heck, even an entire school if it got out. So I understand why districts don't want their teachers doing online sex work. Can teachers have an OnlyFans account? Sure, in theory. Should they? So I just think it's very interesting that this is the culture right now. A couple things. If it's not that big of a deal, if it's just sex work, sex work's just something you do, why is it uncomfortable for students to find it? If I taught and kids found those are the girls, I mean, it'd be weird because I don't think, it'd be weird. Anybody finding this that I didn't necessarily intend to find it would be weird, but I wouldn't be ashamed. I wouldn't be embarrassed. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, it's a scandal. I'd be like, oh, cool. I hope you learned something. Well, first I'd be like, oh, that's funny. Hope you learned something. If it's not that big of a deal, why do people feel uncomfortable? We feel uncomfortable because inherently we know that it's wrong. Inherently we know that sex work is wrong. Inherently we know that no woman, no matter what women say, no woman desires to have sex or to exploit their bodies just for money. No woman wants that. You cannot convince me that. You can convince me that a woman has convinced herself that she wants that. But women and men are designed to have sex with with a person, not with people, with a person that they love and that cherishes them, that adores them, that cares about them. It's not a transaction. That is what makes it so icky and so uncomfortable. And I'm sure it's very difficult. Actually, well, I know the economy right now is very difficult, but I'm sure it's very difficult to have this option. For me, it's not even an option because I have that thing in me that says, hey, this is morally incorrect. Hey, the Bible, even though I could use $1 million, I also recognize, on a practical standpoint, it's definitely not worth it for $150 to $180 a month. Come on now, sister, put your crown back on. It's definitely not worth that, and it's not worth $1 million either. But I'm being practical for people who don't have that moral thing telling them not to do it, because that's the reality. To stop you, it has to be something morally in you to understand how wrong it is, because on the outside, it appears as if the benefits outweigh the negative. Some of the negatives are, it's this icky feeling you're going to feel because you're exploiting yourself. But some people can override that. it'll make you feel uncomfortable with some family. If family members find it, it can affect your job. It can affect your love life. Some men are not going to want to date someone who's actively in it and unashamed and unembarrassed about it. So some people don't care about that stuff. I hope you care that it's just 150 to 180 then. It's just not worth it, lady. All that to say it's not worth it. I think it's very interesting that it's trending. I would like to read some more statistics about how it's trending amongst teachers, and like maybe if people have like ideas on like what's going on, like how do we fix this type of thing. The least OnlyFans people, the better. As their occupation. Not, I don't want to hurt anyone. I think their lives are so valuable. I don't believe that sex work is real work. It's prostitution, and prostitution, as people, well, it's in the Bible, it's the oldest job in the world. Okay? And it's still wrong. That doesn't, someone said that once to me, like, well, prostitution's the oldest job in the world. It's always going to be here. Okay. Murder is the oldest sin. That doesn't mean we keep we say, go for it. Like, that's wild to me. Anyway, that is that story. Let's see here. Oh, next story, really quick. I'll do it at the end, never mind. Next story, I'm gonna try to read as much as possible. But I'll link it. It's from Evie. Almost half of Gen Z viewers want less sex on screen. Call me Gen Z. I have been saying this for years. Really quick before let me read the article first. But call me Gen Z. I want less sex on the screen too. According to the latest findings by the Center of Scholars and Storytellers, their annual Teen and Screen report showed that the adolescents desire less on-screen sex and trauma. It seems they're done with Euphoria and the Idol's drama-filled storylines, full of sexual imagery, and want more films that reflect lives like their own, so more platonic relationships and less romance. Nearly 39% of respondents expressed a wish for more representation of aromantic or asexual characters on screen portrayals. I wonder if Gen Z wants more romance between Hollywood films on teenage romance are typical and unrelatable, or because they aren't many heartwarming flicks on friendships. Perhaps it's both. Oh my goodness. I would love a sweet, like, rom-com about friendship. It wouldn't be a rom-com. It'd be a friend-com about, I don't know, like a fun, like, sweet story about friendship. Anyway, young people express their discontent with cliche tropes, like the expectation that male and female friends would fall in love. If you know me, I'm very much against that. There's a complete lack of platonic relationships in American cinema. Wrote a 17-year-old boy from Georgia. A 16-year-old girl added, I don't like that every boy and girl friendship has to be romantic at some point. Sometimes people can be just friends. They're right. Most teens spend time with their friends rather than pursuing romantic relationships. This in today's society. Let's just end it on that. I've been saying this for a while. I noticed this. So, okay, I'm going to be honest. I did not stop watching like Disney Channel. I'll say maybe my freshman year of college is when I kind of like shifted. I did start watching Pretty Little Liars. I did. I wasn't allowed to watch it. Lord forgive me, I'd sneak and watch it. Then as I got older, like I didn't have to sneak because like I guess my parents were like, whatever, she's an adult now. But when I was younger, I did. I wonder if they know. They probably, I don't know. If they listen, they know now. I think that was the only really mature show. Obviously, like Law and Order, Criminal Minds, but those aren't like the teen dramas that they're referring to. I didn't start watching Riverdale until I believe it was the second season. Which was like, I was maybe a junior or even a senior in college. So I'm trying to think of any other shows that kind of, I want to say maybe I'm trying to remember how I remember TV shows is like, I kind of remember scenes and like where I was during that scene. I can like see myself. I'm trying to see myself like sitting in the bed watching on my laptop. I want to say I started watching How to Get Away with Murder in like senior year of college, I believe. That is the first show I noticed this in. There is this tendency that a lot of modern day TV shows, even movies, do, where there will be a sex scene that has absolutely nothing to do with the plot. They're not talking during the scene. So sometimes, there'll be a scene and they're throwing their bodies against the wall. Tell me the truth. And then another person, no, I can't tell you. No, tell me. They have those scenes and you kind of got to like listen in. No, these scenes will just be like pornography pretty much. And just on the bed, and then you find, oh wait, I could have just fast forward through that. Unnecessary, boring, lazy. Not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's very, once again, unnecessary. I don't think it. My thing is like it doesn't move the plot. You can tell us that they had sex, and it will still have the same effect. In my opinion, it'll still have the same effect. I'm glad that people are speaking up about it. The other half of the article is about the platonic thing. I am very pro platonic relationships. I think that having good friendships is so important. I know for a fact that good friendships can make you a better person. They can make life more enjoyable. Friendships. Nothing wrong with romantic relationships. But we have tons of stories about those. Like, I would love to see just a fun, like, two best friends, a guy and a girl even, that zero romantic chemistry. Zero. And just being friends. I love it. That's why I like iCarly. And then, even though, I cried and it was really sweet how they got together, spoilers, but whatever. I liked it because I liked that they were just friends, and there's nothing wrong with just being friends. You can just be friends with guys and girls. How do I know? Because I have male friendships where we're both single and it's completely platonic. There's absolutely nothing going through. I know it's possible. I know it is. And we're so porn-brained as a society that we think we cannot do it, but we can. And what will start is these better movies. So I thought that was a very interesting article. I agree completely. We're tired of seeing unnecessary sex scenes. I've told you guys before, I tried to watch Euphoria. I couldn't. I saw first episode and the aesthetic is beautiful. Music, beautiful. I mean, the fashion. Oh, love. Guys, it was just too much. I know some people watch it. I don't know how. They're also in high school. Why are they doing all that stuff in high school? Crazy. I did watch, I like video essays on YouTube, and I watched a girl talk about it, Euphoria, and and I would love to do a video, like more a deep dive into this, but kind of how we have kind of skipped like the tween, like there aren't tween girls anymore. So tweens, instead of watching like iCarly or like Sam and Cat, they're watching Euphoria. So that's why we have that. What is she, like 7th grader doing the skincare routine? No reason to be doing skincare in 7th grade, but so yeah, so that's why we have that type of thing. And she was saying how she watched the show and she doesn't know anyone whose life was like wild and crazy like that. And she said she went to public school. She said that there were people who did drugs in school, but she wasn't really. Most people aren't really friends with those. Those people aren't the cool kids. That's what she was explaining to us, the viewers. And it just made me think, like, so who are they writing this for? Who is this for? And who would it hurt? I mean, it's wild and crazy, but who would it be to hurt to take them out of high school and put them in college? But that's a whole nother conversation. Anyway, I'm glad that people are saying that. Last article. Actually, before I do this last article, I want to talk about this. They showed the Mean Girls, the new trailer. It looks good. It looks good. I'll admit that. Like, way better than I thought, because, they showed us that first picture, and it was like, all right, let's see how this is going to go. The trailer looks good. Like, I'm excited. I don't know if it's going to be like my Barbie. It might be like my Barbie. You guys know I loved the Barbie movie, and I was excited to just, like, dress up and be a girl and, like, take it all in. And I love being a girl, and I love when girls, we can just come together and just be, you're not caring. Really quick. One of the things I really liked about the Barbie movie is everybody went there. No one asked, well, what's your political affiliation? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? No, we just sat, oh, hey, Barbie, you look cute. Oh, you look cute. Like, that's all. And we had a very happy, positive experience and moment together. I loved that. That's how I want you to feel at the tea party. I want you to feel like a happy, positive experience together with other like-minded women. That'll be the difference, because Barbie, we kind of didn't talk about like our affiliations and stuff, but like us being pro-life is going to be a big part of it. But you might like the color purple, but that's not what it's going to be about. Like, I can still love you and respect you if you think purple is the best color. Obviously it's pink, but if that's what you're choosing to believe, that is purple, I'm not going to dislike you. I can still love you. Anyway, the Mean Girls trailer, and I just wanted to say there's a part where it goes, let me just read the exact style card, and I was like, okay, who is this movie for? Kind of insulting, and I'm not that old. This isn't your mother's Mean Girls. Okay, I talked about last episode. Mean Girls came out when I was in the 4th grade. And no, I'm sorry, I was in the 6th grade. No, it came out in the 4th grade, but I saw it in the 6th grade. How old were the people? I mean, I guess, okay, so someone 10 years older than me, I guess, could have, at 14, I guess Mean Girls would have been fine. So, okay, but, obviously I took this personally. I'm like, your mother's like, I'm not a mother. And if I was a mother, my kid would be like 5 max. Like, what? Hold on, I'm 28. Yeah, 23, I guess that was the goal. But it's like, what? That's, guys. I'm not that old. I just thought that was funny. The movie looks good. Let me know what you guys think. If you're gonna watch it, if you're not gonna watch it, should we do a meetup in Charlotte? That'd be fun to see the movie. Let me know. Last story, very important story. Ohio voters enshrine abortion as a constitutional right in the state. This is from Live Action. This kind of explains what happens. I'm not going to read the article, but I will link it so you can understand what happens. I kind of want to talk about it from the perspective of where do we go from here? There was a statistic, exit poll, issue 1. Listen to these statistics. 18 to 29%, 82% of them voted yes. Let me say that again, because then it makes sense. 18 to 29-year-olds, sorry. 82% of the 18 to 29-year-olds voted yes for the right to abortion. And the 18 to 29-year-olds only made up 11% of the vote. 30 to 44, they made up 22% of the vote. 69% voted yes. 45 to 65, they made up 35% of the vote. 53% said yes, which is still the majority. And 65 and over, which is 32%, 46% said yes. I will try to link this screenshot I got from this exit poll. A couple things that I'm noticing, that you're probably going to notice, is 18 to 29, 82% said yes. That is a lot. And that is partially who is listening to this podcast. Which means these are our peers. These are people that we know and love. 82% said yes to abortion. What are we doing? How do we fix this? How do we talk to our sisters and get them to understand why abortion is so wrong? Why it not only hurts the baby, which many women recognize that it is a baby, it also hurts them. how do we do this? What do we need to do? I really want to focus on that in the upcoming year, because we have to change culture. We should be working to change the laws. I mean, a total ban at this point is what we need. We need an absolute total ban from moment of conception. That's what we need. No exceptions. And alongside, we have to be changing culture, because what else does this tell us? This tells us that even when we change the laws, people are going to still try to do it. So we're still needed. You listening are needed in the pro-life movement. Whatever your talent is, I don't know. I don't know what your talent is. I don't know if you're good at acting. If you're good at acting, I need you. I need you. I need you to be up there and doing a good movie, please. I don't know if you are good at acting, if you're good at art, if you're good at public speaking, if you're good at gathering, if you're good at fundraising, if any talent you have, it's needed. There are so many different things, so many different ways that you can be a part of the pro-life movement. And I'm going to be doing a little bit more to like show you guys that, and like I just have some great things in the works toward this. But I wanted to read to you guys a little bit of, I saw this post from Feminists Choosing Life. I really want to read to you what they said, because I just think this is I think this is just, I like what they said. So it says, the breakdown of Ohio voting shows issue 1 that okay. Excuse me. Let me take a sip of water. The breakdown of Ohio voting on issue 1 shows that 18 to 29-year-old women overwhelmingly voted yes on enshrining abortion in their constitution. National surveys show that the same demographic is disproportionately suffering from mental health conditions. The majority of Feminine Choosing Life New York's followers are 18 to 34 women. That's the majority of those are the girls' followers as well. Friends, you know these pro-choice women. Wow, I literally just said that. It is up to you to change their hearts. And that is what we should be aiming to do, changing hearts. How do we do this? First, recognizing that the hearts we seek to change are hurting. Only genuine love can change hearts. Don't project anger on social media. Develop a reputation for seeking truth. Admit when you're wrong, and be extremely well researched on the topic of abortion. Be merciful and kind. Reinforce the truth that you can disagree with a person's decision while not condemning the whole person. Then they say, invite a small group of pro-choice friends to discuss the issue with you in person. Always choose an in-person interaction / conversation over a social media exchange. Make overtures of peace. Make a meal. Give a compliment. Show your love, respect, and concern. Live a pro-life life. Be joyful. Be hopeful. Be generous. Be patient. Building a culture of life takes time, but also make haste. Every woman who has an abortion deepens her union with death and despair. Okay. I thought those were good practical tips. I'll link that. And hopefully we'll have someone on to kind of talk a little bit more about that on the podcast. Ladies, this was very disappointing. If you haven't already, you should listen to what is going on in Ohio. I'll link it. But we also did an episode. I'll link the article from Live Action, but we also did an episode on it. It was incredibly disappointing what has happened. And all of the elections across the country, it has been proven that abortion is the number one issue for women. And we will continue to lose. And I don't think we should compromise on abortion. I don't. So we lose. But we will continue that unless we can get people to understand the truth. And people don't know the truth unless we tell them, unless we can show them, unless they can see our kindness and sincerity. And this is the last thing I'm going to say on this, because will be an ongoing conversation. But this is why I think it's so important for us to, I like how she mentioned about being kind and like living a pro-life life where we're, being charitable to people, being kind and X, Y, and Z. because people are not going to listen to us if we're coming off, you're this, you're that, and then you're blah, blah, blah. Like, you guys know who I'm emulating. Like, they're not going to listen to us. We have to be kind, and we have to, and that's who we truly are. Like, if you're truly kind, you should be able to be kind, and you should be able to condemn a decision, not necessarily the person. What happened is wrong. Abortion is not the unforgivable sin, but it is a sin, and you do need to repent. I think that's the other thing too, like, remembering that it's not the unforgivable sin. Once you repent, God forgives you. It's over. Who am I to hold that against you? But you have to repent. And I think that is kind of like where there could be, this is where it gets tricky, and like, we have to figure out how are we going to help women, like, how are we going to save these babies and help women? How? If you guys have some ideas of some things that we can do, some different events, if you think that, if you have churches or groups that you think we should have discussions at, let me know. Like, I would love to come and like have a talk, maybe come up with an idea, do a tea party somewhere, like get a group of like maybe high school girls. This idea just popped in my head. A group of high school like youth girls or something like that. Everybody loves to dress up. We'll have a tea party and we'll talk about it. Let me know, reach out. I'd love to do it. So ladies, it's discouraging. I was kind of sad about it today. I'm recording this the Wednesday after the election. I was kind of sad about it today. Let's not stay in the sadness and the disappointment. Let us move forward and be determined that we are not going to give up. Because also at the end of the day, like, God is on our side. Jesus is still king. The devil's not on the throne. That's what a teacher in my school used to say whenever someone would act bad. I don't know why she would say that. She'd be like, the devil is not on the throne. I guess, I don't know. The devil's not on the throne. So, we don't have to be sad. It's not over. It's not over. We just have to keep fighting and keep speaking the truth. If you have ideas, comments, anything like that, please leave them. Let me know. And if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead, leave a reply. Leave a comment. Let me know how you felt about it. If you enjoyed it, your thoughts. But also leave a rate and a review. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, it really, really helps if you leave a rate and review. If you're listening on Spotify, that's great. Spotify is trying to be the number one audio platform. I mean, Spotify is doing some pretty amazing things. If you listen on Spotify, go ahead and leave a rating for me. That would be fabulous. And answer the question in the polls. I'll decide what that all is later. Answer the question in the polls and leave a 5-star review. I'd really appreciate that. And just be praying, you guys. Pray for this country. This one was for the girls. This was an episode for the girls. So that's probably going to be the title of this. Episode for the girlies. Be praying for our country. We have to change culture. And it starts with us. It starts with how we're doing things, how we're presenting ourselves. Changing culture. That's what we're doing. That's what you're doing. So that's it. Have a good day, night, evening, however, wherever you're listening. Bye.